Good afternoon. I'm going to Melissa told me I was emceeing this, so yes, I'm emceeing this. I got a part a little later, and I'll talk a little bit about Randall and his law enforcement career then. I was thinking on the way over here, I've probably been to as many of these as anybody. I'm about to finish my 28th year in office between the council and the mayor. The 24 years I was alive before that, Daddy or Granddaddy ran one of the city departments. So. And a lot of times the thing that comes up in these things is bittersweet. And I don't like that in this case. And I'll tell you why. It's not that we don't want Randall to go. But you know, we had a ceremony earlier in the week where we commemorated the 1-year anniversary of an officer that passed away. Every May we do that kind of thing. Or somebody moves on to a different career or something like that happens. It is so rare and so special when someone can have the kind of career that Randall has had and leaves when Randall wants to leave. And like I said, we'll talk about Randall and law enforcement. There's one thing I can tell you, the reason that I think that this is a wonderful occasion is because Randall is a tremendous husband and father who happens to be a police chief. And now the folks have given up the most for him to do what he's done for us, getting back. And so we're going to celebrate that today. All right? And now that I got that out of the way, we've got a program. And first two things we're going to do is Lieutenant Brian McClendon is going to give us an invocation. And when he gets done, Deputy Chief Danny Barron is going to come and read Chief Barr's Bible.
If you would, join me in a word of prayer. Father, as we bow before you today, Lord, we're just so thankful for the accomplishments of Chief Barr and, Father, the time that we've been able to spend with him. It's not a goodbye, it's a congratulations. And Father, we pray, Lord, that each day he would serve you as he has served this community. We pray, Father, that he knows your love. And Father, he looks to you in his future endeavors. We pray, Lord, that you bless him. We pray, Lord, that you bless this ceremony, that you be in our midst. Father, we ask, Lord, that we would look upon your word by knowing that we fight a good fight. And as Paul said, I fought the good fight and I finished the race. And I've kept the faith. Many years of law enforcement experience and many tragedies and many things that his eyes have seen, each one of us have seen, that we have to carry home with us. Father, we ask, Lord, for your guidance and your peace in each one of those, and we continue as law enforcement officers that are still carrying on the daily fight. That, Lord, we would carry that with great honor. That we would keep the course. We'd fight the good fight, because it is still a good fight. And we'd finish our race as Chief Barr has done. Father, we ask for your blessing upon him and his family. Lead him, guide him, and direct him, and lead these services. We love you, praise you, honor you, and we thank you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Brian, for that prayer. Got the honor of reading Chief Randall Barr's bio. He's been with us a long time, so we've got quite a lengthy bio. But he was born in Alexander City, and his family moved to Coffee County in 1978. He's a 1986 graduate of Zion Chapel High School. Right out of high school, he began working at Pinker Golf Market. In the fall of 1986, he was a student at Troy State University. While attending college, he started working at Food World. That's where I first had the opportunity to meet Randall, was at Food World in Sherry as well. And at the Troy University Post Office. He had 2 jobs. In 1989, he was hired by the Troy State University Police Department as a patrolman. In 1990, he graduated from Troy State University with a major in criminal justice and a minor in business administration. In 1990, he graduated from the Montgomery Police Academy. In 1991, he began his career with the Troy Police Department as a police officer. In 1997, he was assigned to the ERT team and completed sniper training and served as a sniper on that team. In 1999, he completed RAD training, and he did several training courses for the public over the years. In 2000, he completed the firearm instructor class. In 2001, he was promoted to sergeant in the patrol division. In 2002, he was promoted to lieutenant in the patrol division. In 2005, he completed the managing an FTO program by the IPTM in Jacksonville, Florida, and he was influential in implementing our department's FTO program. In 2009, he completed the Glock Armor's course for the department. In 2010, he was promoted to captain of the patrol division. In 2015, he was sworn in as the chief of police with the Troy Police Department. February of 2021, Chief completed the 240 hours of fleet training that's offered by APOS to become a certified law enforcement executive. The Chief is a member of the Alabama Association of Chiefs of Police and the International Association of Chiefs of Police. He's also served on the Pike County E911 board for several years, East Central Mental Health Board, City of Troy Sick Leave Bank, and the City of Troy Management Team. Chief is here today with his wife Sherry, his son Cody, Cody's wife Tatum, and his son Brady. Cody's also a police officer at Troy University, and Brady works at Lockheed Martin.
I was thinking about Randall, thought about him a lot over the last few weeks as this day approached. You know, and I mentioned about Sherry and Brady and Cody, and you know, if you know Randall very well, you know how much he loves his family. But he's been a tremendous law enforcement officer for a long time. And I saw a thing, I just finished a book by a woman named Angela Duckworth. And you may not have heard of the book, but she did a TED Talk a while back. And what she talks about, she's done all this research on people who are successful. And what is the one thing that they got? What is this one, you know, this silver bullet that makes people successful? And she calls it grit. You know, that determination, that willingness to just go and go and go and go. And if you run into a wall, get up and go some more. And Randall's got that in spades. He's got a lot of other gifts. And I thought back over the time of the people that I've known that have had really difficult jobs, especially with the city, and done them well. They had grit. They also had discipline and dedication. They had a support structure that they could count on and depend on. And Randall had all of those things. You know, Brian mentioned in his prayer how hard it is what all these her to be the one that has to lead. And there's nobody that can understand that except people that have done the job. Daddy, you won't understand it till you walk in that office and shut the door and it's just you and that chick. Randall's smiling because he knows I'm right. But that's that's what he's done. He's done it well. You can always depend on Randall. You know, he's going to be there. He's got that grit. Lewis, another way to say grit might be endeavor to persevere. You know, not give up. And when you have that with other abilities and the right support structure, then you're successful. And Randall's been successful, and Troy Police Department's been successful. He's raised two tremendous young men. I was at Lockheed Martin earlier this week. There are great things going on out there. I remember we were up at the PD not long ago, late one night, working on something. And Cody was in there. And things just come full circle. I remember when he was born. And, you know, you got a lot to be proud of, Randall. And I'm very grateful to you. Sherry, I'm very grateful to you. No telling how many dinners, how many times. It seemed like there for a while, every time Randall tried to take Sherry out to dinner out of town, something terrible happened. And Ellie and I were going to the movies the other night, and we saw them coming out. And when we said hello and walked off, and when I pulled up, I thought, oh goodness. But nothing bad happened, so we were all right. There are a lot of people that are going to want to say nice things about Randall, so I'm going to wrap it up. I have something from the governor that I'd like to read and give to Randall. Governor Kay Ivey, State of Alabama, has presented this certificate of recognition to Chief Randall Ball. This certificate is presented in recognition of your retirement from 35 years of service with the Troy Police Department effective September 30th, 2024. Congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for protecting and serving the citizens of this great state. It is given under her hand, Kay Ivey, on the 27th day of September, 2024. Randall, I know you won't be a stranger, but for somebody to be successful in my job, they got to have somebody that can be successful in your job, and I thank you for that.
Gentlemen, 1, 2, and 3. Thank you very much.
I got to be the MC too. Next up, we'll have Mr. Marcus Paramore will come up, and then the DA, Mr. James Tarbox will come up.
I just told Everett, I said he called me Mr. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it, Mayor. But Chief, I remember the day that Jason came in and Chief Ennis had retired, and he said, boys, we got to hire a police chief. So I was like, yeah, all right, first big thing as a city council member, first term, we're going to get us to hire us a chief. And then I got home and started thinking about what all that really meant. And I was like, oh, Lord, I'm responsible for hiring a police chief in the city of Troy. I said, something's got to give. But the good Lord did give. He gave us you. And we appreciate that. You and I have had some frank conversations over the years about various topics. And I will say this, the mayor used grit and all those things, but you are an extremely calming force in a job that is stress level through the roof. And I want to thank you for what you've done for the citizens. I want to thank you for what you did and how you represented yourself while I was on the city council. And as your state representative, it is my pleasure to call you a friend as well as police chief. So thank you.
questions, and we pick up the phone, that we're going to get the answer we need, and the job's going to get done. And I know that with the Troy Police Department. And I know that because of your leadership. And I appreciate the leadership that you have provided. Mayor Reeves was talking about Chief Barrett's going to close the door, he's going to figure out what it's like to sit in that chair. We know that you have a great team around you, but it's lonely at the top. And I know that there have been some decisions that you've had to make and some situations that you've had to deal with where you probably felt more alone than any time in your life. And I can't fully appreciate it. I don't think anybody can except the people who've sat in your chair. But I appreciate the job you've done. I also appreciate the sacrifices that you have made. This job is 24/7, and it never turns off. It never takes a break. And I appreciate the sacrifices that your family has had to make because of that. Mayor was talking about missing meals. I know you've missed a lot of meals. You've missed a lot of family events. You've probably lost a lot of sleep when that phone rings in the middle of the night and they call to tell you that something terrible's happened. It's the worst night of some family's life here in Troy. But you've been there to respond, and you've been there to lead the team through those situations. And so I just want to tell you that our time together was only about 20 months, but I appreciate the fact that I knew that when we need something, it was going to get done. Last year, I got a call from the Enterprise Police Chief that they had received an electronic threat against our office. And so I started looking into it, and we determined that I had personnel who had been involved in this situation. It was allegedly a threat from an inmate in a DOC facility who had parole denied, and he was going to send people to attack our office. And we doubted its legitimacy, but in this business, you have to take every threat seriously. So I had people in the Enterprise office and the Troy office that were involved with that inmate. I called Chief Barr, I think it was like 9:30 at night, so that's never a good thing when people like me and Chief Barr are talking after business hours. But I called him and I said, Chief, we need some help. And can you get some security on our office tomorrow? I want to make sure our employees feel safe and aren't too scared about what's going on. And I think the sheriff was out of town, but you got with Buck. And we had coverage on our office all day. And that's not a big thing in the scheme of things, but it's a big deal to me that you took care of it and you made sure that our office was protected. And that's just one example of the relationship that we have with the police department. It's just one example of how we appreciate the leadership that you've provided. And it turned out to be nothing like we expected. But again, everybody took it seriously, and I appreciate you taking that call. It's just one of many calls that you've had to take. So from the DA's office, I have a small token of appreciation. We could probably fill this whole plaque up with paragraphs about you, but it just says simply, in recognition of your career serving the citizens of Troy, thank you for your dedicated service, and congratulations on your retirement. Chief, don't be a stranger. Our door's always open.
You'll see as we go through this, the relationships that we have with other agencies. I appreciate what Randall and everyone that works with him and came before him have done to build those relationships. At this time, we'll have Captain Brooks and Lieutenant Burkett from Maria, and we have a great relationship with them, and we really appreciate that relationship, gentlemen.
So I got in the truck and come down here, so I went to Montgomery. and I live in Troy, from Pike County, really where I've been my whole life. And so I've been a trooper in Pike County. I came out here on the road and really got to thinking about something. I know you're not going to remember this, and I know you're not supposed to get up here and tell stories, but that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to let you know a little secret about being a trooper. We don't do this job by ourselves, and you just said it is the relationship. So for me, really for the first 5 years of my career, especially when you're just out on the road, you work with the Troy Police Department, the Pike County Sheriff's Office. I spent more time with them than I did a trooper. But and you probably not going to remember this, but so I get ready to come out on shift, right? And so this was, you were a lieutenant at this time, you're still a lieutenant, so this is a little ways back. And I'm a young trooper in Pike County. Corporal calls me, that's my supervisor, and says, hey, he said, you're supposed to get that paperwork to the post yesterday. And it's just not my paperwork, we call it J4s, right? That's paperwork. And it was something that I collected for everybody else, and I didn't get to Dothan Post. Well, I called a crash the day before, didn't get it down there, so he calls me, he says, hey, come out early, I need you to get this paperwork to Dothan. And back then, we didn't have the Troy Post, so we all worked at the Dothan office. And so we were the north end of the Dothan Post, which was Pike, Barber, and Bullitt County. Well, then, about 5 minutes later, Corporal calls me back and says, hey, the Barber County trooper's called out. I mean, he's not going to work. So you're going to be the only trooper out for the north end. They used to call it the north end. You're going to be the only trooper out. He said, so go ahead and come out early. He said, we want that paperwork, because you know the sergeant in the paperwork is what it was. We want that paperwork. He said, you just run, you come out early, you run down to the post, drop the paperwork off, and get your butt back up to Pike County. I said, yes, sir. So I throw a uniform on, jump in the car, I take off to Dothan. Well, by the time I pull up to the post, there's a crash on 231 right here in front of the cabins, all right? It's got the northbound lane shut down, all right? When I get in the post, drop the paperwork off, before I even get in the car, the dispatcher calls me back on the link. Hey, there's another crash on Smart Road, County Road 2225. Well, so now I'm in Dothan, I'm in the parking lot, and there's 2 crashes in Pike County, and there's nobody in the post, all right? So I'm going down 231. Well, the link goes off again. Dispatch, hey, there's a serious crash, really bad crash on Good Hope Church Road. All right, so now I got 3 crashes, and I'm the only trooper, and I ain't even got to Ozark yet. Well, it was so funny. I go through Ozark, and then the link goes off again, and we had a really good dispatcher at Dothan at this time. She was really probably one of the best. And she says, hey, Burkett. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you about to get a phone call. I says, okay. So I knew what that meant. That was code for corporal's about to call. So then the corporal, he calls me on the link goes off, and he said, hey, now this is a different corporal, because I talked to the day shift corporal, you know how it goes, the evening shift corporal just called me now. And he said, hey, he said, I just got a complaint. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I just got a complaint about a trooper, just went through Ozark on 231 northbound, flying, just flying. And I did, I was thinking, you know, I'm young, but I click in and cut him off, and I beat right back in because we was on the link, and I said, hey, Corporal, I said, did they get my tag number? And he said, your tag number? I said, yeah. Did they get the tag number? And he says, no, they didn't get a tag number. I said, well, it wasn't me. And so now, since I've been at headquarters, I figured out one thing. Sometimes it's better to just tell somebody you're sorry, all right, than even a good excuse or a bad excuse. Well, I pull up, and who gets out of the car? So there's been somebody that's been sitting at that crash on 231 in front of the academies. And you probably don't remember this, but it was you. You were sitting in that crash. So now, not only had I tied up the lieutenant, I done tied up probably about 5 or 6 officers. So he's really happy today, but he really wasn't happy with Trooper Burkett when I got in that car. But the thing about it is, and you just said it, it's the partnership, right? So he got out of that car, and I said, of course, I didn't give him a good excuse or a bad excuse. I just told him I was sorry. I said, but I need to go to Good Hope Church Road, because I can go check on that crash first, because that's kind of like our protocol. And he said, all right. He said, go on, Burkett, go on. And they did. So I went and worked it, and come back, and went to work on Smart Road. But that's a story that everybody can understand, especially for us. we probably tied up 5 or 6 or more officers for Troy PD, really just helping us do our job, which was direct traffic and try to mitigate those crash scenes. So, that was a leadership, and that was, again, you were a lieutenant, so this has been a long time ago, but that's been going on for a long time. So, again, Captain's got something that he's going to share with us. But me personally, thank you so much for that leadership. And we do have something on behalf of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency and on behalf of Secretary Hal Taylor. I just want to thank you personally for your dedicated service to this city, this county, and our state. But again, just really thank this community and Troy Police Department for that partnership. Thank you.
The good thing about fall when Jeremy is mine, shorter. Commendation. Awarded to Chief Randall Barr, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency hereby recognizes the outstanding achievements of Chief Randall Barr after completing 35 and a half years of distinguished service at the Troy Police Department. His career and dedication to public service speak highly of his character and commitment to the citizens of the state of Alabama. As Secretary of Law Enforcement for the state of Alabama, I hereby recognize and commend Chief Randall Barr for his exemplary service as he retires. In sincere gratitude, this certificate is awarded this 27th day of September 2024, signed Hal Taylor, Secretary, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. So, for me, I could stand here all afternoon and tell you how much I love you. It's professional and personal. Professionally, and we're going to hear this a lot about the relationships we have and had. And I thought about it when I was sitting there and I was looking at retired Colonel Jimmy Helms just through the years and the mentorship, and hey, it's about building these relationships and keeping them. And then when he became director and we had the homecoming events and we had special events here, it's whatever you needed. And it's still that way, and I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Lieutenant Tracy McCord and Sergeant Kenny Day and their team. They have taken that baton, and it warms my heart because I'm also from Troy, and it just warms my heart to see that that continues on because it is a special place here. And if Troy Police Department was an Alabama football team, when one person goes to the NFL, how do you replace them? You replace them with 5 stars, and Troy PD has always done that. So I'm going to end this just like I've ended all our phone calls through the years. I love you.
Number 1, 2, sir. Thank you very much.
Next, we've got Chief Michael Stevens. I'm going to be honest with people out there, I feel a little bit out of place up here. There's a lot of law enforcement around me. But I will tell you one thing, when I took over as chief of Troy Fire in 16, there was one sounding voice that resonated every day just about with a phone call, and that was Randall Barr. It wasn't Chief Barr, it was Randall Barr. And, I kid him a lot, but very few days go by that I don't have a Randallism from a phone call. And some of y'all may understand that. One of the main things that stick in my mind is when I was appointed chief, it was a rocky road for me for about the first 6 months. And just about every day I got a phone call from Randall that said, hey, buddy, just stay steady in the shield. You're going to be okay. And so I've got a little something. I don't know if there's any police chief ever received anything like he's going to get today. But on behalf of the Troy Fire Department, but I do have a little something on behalf of Troy Fire. At this time, I'd like to invite our council members, current and former, in just whatever order you want to come. Come on.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon McSwain Hollow, District 1 City Council. Chief. I've had the opportunity to work with you long before I was on City Council, coming from Gordon with the Alabama Department of Corrections, and having the opportunity to encounter you, you always come. And when I came into the city council and would have an incident and have concerns, I would wait until up in the morning to call. And he was always calm. He didn't stop with just a brief answer. He gave me the details so that I had the confidence in his leadership as well as in his officers. And for that, I'm grateful because with you leaving, I could probably cry now, but because it's like losing a friend that I could pick up the phone at any time and know that if he didn't answer right off, he was calling quickly after he had the opportunity. So just know that I love you and I thank you for what you've instilled in your officers, and I'm trusting that Deputy Chief Deputy, I may have it backwards, you're gonna do an excellent job because he leads by example. He leads from the front, the rear, the sides, wherever you're needed and have done it. And I just tell you, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to just have you on my team. Thank you so much.
All right, Chief, it's me. We've journeyed a long time, Chief, and it's nothing, it has not been, it would have not happened if it wasn't for the grace of God. So I thank Him for allowing me to travel this way with you, because I know you call, I remember calling you one day or texting you, you said, I'm at a wedding. I said, oh, I'm sorry. But like Sharon said, you always give back. So you give back, you giving back, and you will continue to give. And I thank y'all for being y'all family, for allowing him to be, for allowing him to be with us and travel this journey together. Because he has made a great impact on my life. Chief, we've been here for a minute. We've been here for a minute. So I will miss you. I will miss you. But I'm glad we have someone that's going to take your place. So tell me about how I call you, Chief. Tell me how I do that. He'll find out what it is, because I call. And I know this is not for the fire chief, but he'll just call me and just tell me. I reckon he said, I'm tired of Wanda calling me. So he'll just text me and say, no fatalities, everything's all right. Hey, I want to be like you. I want to make sure that people are safe in here, and you've done that over the years. And so again, I thank God for you, thank God for your family, and I appreciate you, Chief.
Chief, listen, I haven't had the opportunity to serve with you for the number of years that everyone else has had that opportunity, and we've talked on a number of occasions. But I think the most important thing, all the words that are being said up here, the people that are here today is a testament to your service to the citizens of Troy, Alabama, and how much we appreciate everything that you've done. Okay? The most important thing is, my son and Randall went to school together, and they worked at Food World together. But the most important part was, he never locked him up. That's the most important thing. Randall, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Any former council members want to talk now? All right. Daddy, I guess that's you. Yes, sir.
Congratulations. This really, really, really makes me feel old. I gave Chief Barr a job a long, long, long time ago. You had a head full of hair. Sure did. What year was it? 1991 in Troy. I got you from Troy University. I used to sort of had a deal that I figured out that I could hire campus police officers who had already been to the police academy. And I wouldn't have to pay money to spend myself. And Chief Booth didn't like it too much. He got over it. I talked about it. Same way I hired Wayne from Troy University, hired Bobby T, Joe, the gentleman did, Joe Silvers, and several of them. But it just, it makes you feel old because you look around the room and you see so few people that see Sanford. I heard Sanford, that John Jerkins around. And so they get fewer and fewer as time goes by. I'm the one person in here who knows how to do it. So that you always, I've been proud of you. And you gave us a job where you know we'll come on you anytime.
Before we get to retired officers and other guests, I think the ATF has got a presentation that they'd like to make. And again, we're so grateful for the relationships that we have. With all these different agencies.
Hey, I'm here representing the Montgomery Field Office for the ATF. And we just want to thank Chief Barr here for paving a great way of building a good relationship for us to work with them. And Jennifer was the right, sent me down here to give you this little coin holder. It's got a coin inside, or I say it does. It does have a coin inside. It's also got your name on there. She just appreciates everything you've done. Yes, sir.
Drew and Jeremy were talking about, we couldn't do this, what we do, without the SO, without Troy University, without the troopers. We got the Secret Service that came down here when the president was in town a while back told me that there was a lead agent at the site, and there was a lead agent at the airport. Between the two of them, they had done over 400 of these visits. They told me they had never seen a group of local law enforcement from different agencies work better together than here. So, Sheriff, we appreciate you.
This will be the Randall Bar roast. Just kidding, your wife's here. I didn't come prepared to speak, but we were together the other day, he and Deputy Chief, soon to be Chief Barrett, and I said, Danny, you'll be the 5th police chief that I've worked with as sheriff. Not to rush it, but I hope I make it through a couple more chiefs. But what I respect about Chief Bars, he loves his family. He loves his 2 sons, his wife, his job. He loves this city. He loves law enforcement. He put in a lot of long hours. You would see his truck at the bridge. If we were working on a case and it took 3 days, he was there for 3 days. He put in the time that it takes. So if you figured his job by the hour, he probably didn't make minimum wage over the years. But he's been a good chief. We both started at Troy University under Chief Booth. We both rose through our respective departments and agencies. I became sheriff and he became chief. He's a little smarter than I am. He's got enough sense in and know it's time to go home. But I've enjoyed working with you. You know, he and I talked a lot. Some weeks we wouldn't talk, some weeks we'd talk 3 times a week about things that only a sheriff and a chief, when you occupy those chairs, and Chief Reeves knows and Chief Barry soon to learn, that no one else understands unless you occupy that chair. And the city of Troy is very blessed to have a good police department, and the county as a whole. I'm going to miss his leadership. I'm going to miss being able to call him. If we had something bad in the county, like the day that the guy was being cut, he was under the truck, they were trying to kill him, he sliced him, diced him. He called me, he said, do you need anything? How can I help you? And that's the kind of chief he had. And, you know, I'm going to miss him, being able to call him. We were talking tonight. I guess about 2 months ago, he was out one night. I called him, he called me. It was like 8 or 8:30 at night. And he's leaving the police department. We're talking about problems. We stayed on the phone about 45 minutes. He drives by the coffee shop up here, and they're grinding coffee. There's smoke coming out. And Chief Stevens knows what I'm talking about. He called in there may be a fire on the square. But it was smoke from the coffee being ground. Well, I didn't know that. You know, Chief Barr, we were talking about that, and I said, had you not called it in, the square would have burnt down. That's kind of the way our jobs are. And no disrespect to the judges or the DA. And I said, well, Chief, I said, it's 9 o'clock at night. I said, what do you think them judges and DA are? Well, we have a great relationship with our judges and DAs, but it's been a pleasure. I've been very helpful. You know, our soon-to-be captain, his son, works at the university where we all started. We started Troy University. We both married Troy University graduates, both teachers, so we have a lot in common. And what our wives have in common is they both married well. But it's been a pleasure. You've been a good chief. You've put the hours in. I appreciate your friendship, all that you've done for me, and all that you've done for the people in the Pike County Sheriff's Office. Congratulations.
person around you, retired officers or other guests. Mr. Fanning, we want you to have microphones.
Lieutenant Burkett? Yes, sir. Who told you that we weren't supposed to tell stories up here? You were promised a story. Remember that? You remember when Jimmy Mueller retired? I told you that day, I said, I got a story to tell. Now, Miss Sherry, I want you to stay calm. Now, this is going to have a decent ending. Very first time I ever met Randall Bar, I guess it was the first time I ever saw him. We exchanged introductions, we shook hands, and we talked for maybe 7 or 10 minutes, maybe. And when I walked away from him, I was mad. I was not happy. And I got to work that afternoon. I was in the detective division over here then. I got to work that afternoon, and so helped me. I actually said this. George, you were sitting there, and I think Ron Edwards did. Anyway, I walked in there, I said, well, boys, I said, I met a future chief of police today. And they said, what happened? And I got to go back and tell you how this all started. I want to see if you remember this. In 1990, I bought the first four-wheel drive truck I ever had in my life. It was a 1985 Chevrolet Scottsdale. I love that truck. Keith Snyder still got that truck. He bought it from me, still running down there on his farm. Now, back then, window tinting was just coming into style. Everybody was getting their windows tinted, and the police at that time, it was a pretty hot topic because the cops didn't like going up to cars at night that were just blacked out. You couldn't even see if anybody was even in it, let alone who it was. And they had some legislation that passed up there that at that time you had to have your window tint. I put it on the truck. I had it around it. I didn't have a garage, anything to put it on, so I put it on. Had it put on, and you had to have it graded. You had to have it couldn't be but a certain darkness or whatever. And you had to have a sticker that went on it to show that it was law enforcement approved. Is this bringing back anything? It will. It will. So I didn't know where to go to have that done, and I asked around, and they said the only person I know, the only people I know that's got that, Troy University has it, and you can go over there, and it was like a little radar gun thing. They put it on there. Well, I went to the place that bought the stuff, and I told the guy, I said, I'm a policeman. I can't drive around with something, it's illegal. I guess it's got to be right. And he showed it to me on the box. It said law enforcement approved. I said, okay. So I go over there, and I meet him. He's the one that's got the thing. And I told him I worked with city cops and everything. And I don't remember what the number was. Let's say it couldn't be darker. Let's say it couldn't be over 7.1. Okay, let's just say that 7.1. Well, mine read like 7.2. He wouldn't give me a sticker. The man wouldn't give me a sticker. And I said, wait a minute. Now, I said, he said, and folks, this is something that he came to be famous for now. There's Randallisms. But his most famous single word, if he makes up his mind, is simply, I don't know if I can say it like you, but I know these boys, I know y'all have heard it. And what that word is nope. He just kept saying, nope. And I'm thinking, what? Well, what if your thing is wrong? It ain't wrong. I said, well, it could be. It ain't wrong. So I left there and I went to work. I told the guy,
Michael. Well, he had just started working over at Troy University. Just had, I don't think he'd even been to the academy. Well, it's not long before, you know, cops are always talking. It's almost as bad, but not as bad, but almost as bad as a women's beauty shop. I start hearing the guys talking about, you know, this guy that got over at Troy State, this Randall Park, the guy's pretty sharp. He asked me about some, I don't care how sharp he is, he wouldn't give me a sticker. And after a while, I started hearing people talk about how well he wrote a report. And we would assist them in things over there, you know, if they had a felony thing over there. And I got to looking, and I read some of his reports, and they were perfect. I mean, textbook. You couldn't ask for it. When you read a report that Randall Barr wrote, you didn't have any questions. You didn't have any questions. And I thought, well, And then I started hearing guys talking about the Randallisms and how funny he was and how personable he was. And I said, you know, this guy's going to mess right around till I have to like him. And I'm a dog. Didn't turn around one day, and I meet him downstairs, and he's wearing a city patrol uniform. So, okay. Well, it went on and went on, and the more I got to know him, and the more I got to dealing with him, I realized that for him, the word nope was nothing more than part of his personality, and you know it if you work for him, and you know it if you work with him. He's a perfectionist. He can't help it. It's going to be right. It's going to be just exactly perfect. That's the only way he's going to do it. He's not going to deviate from that. And so I said, well, I guess I'm just going to have to tolerate it. And then we started going on some things where, well, I don't know how many of y'all know this, nobody's mentioned it yet. But we went on some things where you had to go in the house with a search warrant. And he would go with us. He was on the team in it. Do y'all know what his nickname is? His nickname is Bigfoot. Do you know why he's called Bigfoot? Now, y'all see it on TV all the time. Somebody goes up, cop runs up, and he kicks the door one time, just one time, and the door flies open. Folks, it's not like that in real life. Those doors are a little bit harder than that to open, unless you're Bigfoot. This man can tear a door off the hinges, not the knob. I'm talking about he can knock it off the hinges with just one. Look at them feet when you put it on. What is that, 13? What is that, 14? I told you, Bigfoot. He can. I was impressed now. I was impressed. He kept messing around until I just said, well, I ain't got that choice. I got to like him already. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time working with you, and you were a jam-up shift supervisor. I never had to worry about 2:30 to 10:30. If the phone rang, I knew you had all the details. I knew everything was going to be laid out for me. And I knew if I had to come out, that when I got there, everything was going to be organized, everything was going to be right. And I wish you nothing but the very best. And I hope you really enjoy your retirement, because all of us that were right under the police chief, everybody lost sleep and lost time at home and everything. And I know you did. I know you did. It's always toughest at the very top. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you got a lot of honeydews. I hope you have a long list. And let me tell you something. I don't care what it is he says or what it is he comes up to complain to you about. Just look at him and say, nope. I wish you the very best of everything, but you still owe me a sticker.
employees with the Troy Police Department.
We're able to do this, okay? Put my glasses on for Chief. I've been with you the whole time. 9 years, I've been his financial administrative assistant. And I just want to tell you congratulations. If anybody deserves this, you do. And, here's to your days when you no longer get an email from me. No more football games, no more personnel issues, no more complaints, and no more phone calls, and no more deadlines other than whatever Miss Sherry has for you. That's what you're going to do. I said, I remember when I first started at the police department, I had worked at Gibson and Carter, an accounting firm, for 12 years. And I thought, I can do this. This is going to be great. Well, let me tell you, when you've got employees that work 24 hours, 7 hours a day, it's different. And they did not even have a computerized payroll system when I started. I think when I got here was when we were still using the ledger books for, I think, my first one, or maybe 2 payrolls, and then we got it. But let me tell you, I would have never gotten it if it had not been for you and the patience you had with me and everything that you did for me. And I hope you know how much I appreciate it. There's one thing that stands out in my mind about you through all the years, and there was a case that the detectives were working, and they had met with all the people, and there were 3 things that came out of the case. It was a missing man, and they were looking for him. There was a bumpy road, an L turn, and a pile of dirt on a dirt road. And I want you to know that this man singly, by himself, rode down all the dirt roads. He had a steel rod, and he was poking it in the dirt on those dirt roads. And he single-handedly found that body by himself. He's the kind of man that he's so meticulous with everything that he does, that I'm here to tell you, I feel honored to have worked with you, and I hope you know how much I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your retirement. And Ms. Sherry, make sure you can stay on him and make him do everything. We've got a little award from all of your staff. It's from everybody, okay? And Danny's going to come up and read it.
For those of you that have been in Randall's office, you've seen his pictures of Teddy Roosevelt. And one of the sayings in there I really like, but this says, in recognition of outstanding leadership, honoring Chief Randall Barr, with great appreciation of your many years of dedication and commitment, thank you for going above and beyond while serving the citizens of Troy. Theodore Roosevelt says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. But who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring great things. So that at his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. This is for you.
He
Cap Weed has a presentation from the ERT team.
Here we go. Well, we got the phone, man, they say, cheap parking lots open, we don't get to use this one. This is one. So, but you've been a great friend to the team. You were on the team when I first got on in 2006. Learned so much about being a team player, not only from those times when we were teammates, but when you became chief. Tell a story real quick about how unselfish or a true teammate you were. We had to do a certain thing. And this house was barricaded, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to get into it. And it was an old duplex house, had a big bay window, and we knocked that window out, and Chief threw down a ballistic blanket and got down so we could get into the house. And just as much as you helped that team get into the house, you helped this department be what it is. And I'll be always grateful. So I'd like to present you this plaque from the team, as well as your teammates from the past.
Anybody else that wants to say anything, please come on up. Y'all just, I'm gonna leave it open until y'all quit.
Hey y'all, my name is John Fowler. I'm a relatively new officer here at the Troy Police Department. I just wanted to give a special thank you to Chief. I started back in November. I looked him in the eyes and I told him I wanted to be a police officer for the great city of Troy, and I did that. Tragedy struck my family in January, and I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I went in Chief's office and he looked me in the eyes and he said, "You don't have to worry about a job here." He said that you can stay here and that we're going to work with you the best we can, and that meant a lot to me. Meant a whole lot to me. And I just want to thank you, Chief, for everything that you've done for the city and for my family. And we are forever grateful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm making an announcement. This is my prayer. When you're in this profession, there always has to be a gap between you and your supervisor. That's the only way it'll work. That's my prayer right there. I can say it now. So now, a little over a year and a half ago, on one of those nights when his truck was still on the bridge, you always wonder, man, what is he doing? So he called me in his office, and I'm like, oh. I tried to stay out of that office. I didn't want to go in. He called me in and he offered me the position of captain. And I told him I'd accept it. And before I left, he made sure that I understood that I earned it. He said, "You earned it." Now, I don't know, but is there anything that's more honorable that a person can say to you that you earned something? I don't know. Now, when you spend, I first met him in December of 1994. And when you have that time with someone, you learn little quirks about it. And I learned over the years that he doesn't like flip-flops.
Mrs. Fields. So just a little over a year ago, I was in this spot. And I really appreciate everything you guys have done for me. But as Sanford presented the flip-flops, I'm not going to call them what you call them. But that story goes way back to West Memphis, Arkansas with David Johnson. And we were out in front of a restaurant. And at that time, David Johnson was taking yoga, trying to demonstrate to us how the yoga stances work. I believe he fell or something to that effect. No, I'm not demonstrating. But at any rate, I apologize for going out of turn. But I'm just thinking back when I was captain and I had dispatch and I had the jail and I had the vehicles and all the other stuff that, you guys threw at me. And we have this saying that he doesn't have a poker face. So we know when Melissa's either called him on the phone or got him riled up and we got to go in there and ask for something. And we dread it. Or we got an interview. And we know he's going to tell this story about Food World. He's going to tell this story about whatever. And I look over at Meredith and she's counting ceiling tiles in the ceiling. We've heard this story over and over again. But one thing I learned and remembered about him is that he'd never make a decision when he was mad, regardless of how many times Melissa would send an email, or how many times she would call, or how many times we would call, and he's in a deer stand. He would always deal with us when he was settled and he could think things through, and I really appreciate that. You're going to feel odd. You're going to be on your lawnmower, and you're going to want to know, have I lost my phone? Because nobody's calling you. But you'll get used to it, trust me. You'll hear a siren and want to know what's going on. Just fight the urge. Just fight the urge. But I appreciate you. Thank you, Ms. Sherry. Thank you guys for sacrificing the time that you guys have. That doesn't go unnoticed. We pick at him through the times where he had to go work on your classroom for us and put floats together and all that. We won't tell what he said, but we definitely appreciate that, and I'm proud for you too.
I was going to say mine, but to the close of it, I'll go ahead and get it off my chest. I started the police department in 06. 2 days after the academy, my wife had our second child. Everything that I needed was there. Randall was my lieutenant, and I'm sorry if I call you Randall, you're my chief, you're my boss, but I've known you a whole lot longer as Randall than I had boss and chief. I started in 06, and after FTO, I went to second shift. And Randall was my supervisor, my lieutenant. Randall will make you hate a red pen. There wasn't a reg report right. There wasn't a regular report that was right. Because at the end of the day, it was right. And it was right because he went through every report with a fine-tooth comb. There wasn't a box numbered or a box marked. It was marked before you left that office, or it was marked before you went home. And if you went home before it was approved, you had to come back. I'll tell this story. We were on patrol one night, and I got behind a car that was definitely a DUI driver. I lost the car, and Randall found it. Well, I was right behind him, and that turned into a car chase. That car chase ended up on Childs Road. And we struck out on foot. Well, he came from one direction, and I came from the other direction. And the only thing I could think of as we was going through those woods was, I sure hope he tackles him before I do. Because I played a little bit of football, and I realized what it was like for the big man to be on top. We got down in a creek bottom, and there was a barbed wire fence there. A 6-strand barbed wire fence to be exact. The suspect went through it, and all I heard was, "Get him, McClendon." And I did. I went through the fence with him. Well, I caught him on the other side of the fence, and I don't know how in the world he got on the other side where I was at. But he was right on top of it, and I got to feel like what it was like to be a big man on top of it. we've had a lot of fun together, and I got to watch Randall rise up through the ranks. I left there, went to third shift, and I had some fun there. And he's always been a great mentor. He's always answered the phone, even in the deer stand. And many days of me calling him as being a detective and him whispering, and I said, well, if you can't hunt, I ain't hunting. If I can't hunt, you ain't hunting. So, but he's always answered the phone. He's always had great mentorship. The main thing I want everybody to take away from this is he's a man of his word. He's a man that's by the book. There's no straying from the book. He's by the book. He's as good as a man, upstanding man as I know. On top of that, if you were in trouble, he was fair. But if you messed up, he was firm. And that's all you can ask out of, because he's by the book and there's no straying from him. But if you were right, he would fight tooth and nail all the way to the end. You can't ask for a better chief. Thanks, sir.
Chief, let me start by saying thank you for all that you've done for me. I'm a better officer, I'm a better supervisor, I'm a better man because of the way you've led, the way that you've been meticulous about everything. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens another. I feel like that you've sharpened me and made me a better man, better supervisor. And as a second scholar, I'd like to present this to you for appreciation for what you've done for us and what you've done for this department.
Anybody else? We've got a presentation now from the Fraternal Order of Police. Detective Colton Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. This extraordinary honor to be able to be here today representing the Steve Watkins Memorial Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 57. On behalf of the Steve Watkins Memorial Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 57, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your dedication. And thank you to the dedicated for the dedication to this community. We especially are grateful for the contributions you made to the Steve Watkins Lodge over the years. We wish you the best in retirement, well-deserved retirement. And personally, I will thank you for the opportunity you gave me when you hired me, because from that day forward, you're shaping my career. I'll forever be grateful for that. Thank you, Chief Watkins.
The next presentation comes from Troy Police Department. Deputy Chief Danny Berry is going to do that presentation.
We've got a few presentations over here for you. One maybe that you don't know about that will surprise you just a little bit. Randall Barr means to me. I don't want to get up here and tear up. Brian's already just about made me do it. I appreciate that. But we've come a long way together. I remember the first time I met him, as I said earlier, was at Food World. And I've learned a lot from him over the years. We talked about writing reports. One of the first reports I wrote, I remember my first DUI report that I had to write as a young rookie officer. And I thought, how in the world am I going to write this? I made the arrest. And Randall said, hey, I've got a report in my box. Go get it, and you can use that. And what I did was I didn't use that report, but what I did was use how he wrote his reports to be able to write the DUI reports and write reports in the future. And I've learned so much from him through the years. He and I have come up through the ranks together. When he was a second shift lieutenant, and I was a night shift lieutenant. But I had an opportunity to work third shift with him for many years. And I just can't begin to tell you how much you mean to me and how much I appreciate all that you've done for me. Telling stories up here, one of the stories that I'm reminded of over the years, and there are many stories that Randall and I have been a part of together. But one of the stories we'd gotten a shots fired call at the Cattlemen's Association. They had a huge party down there. And the last time I seen Randall was much like I am today. I was standing up on stage with the mic actually in my hand. We had gone up there and there was a large crowd in there, and I had made the decision I was going to go in and shut the party down. Randall is about in the middle of the crowd, and I went up and grabbed the microphone and I said, the party's over, shut it down now. And as soon as I said that, all the lights went out. The last thing I saw was Randall's face like, what are you doing? The lights went out. And thankfully we got out of there alive together. But I always knew wherever I went, if he was there, I was going to be taken care of. And I've had the opportunity to work with him as a captain under him, as the chief for the last 9 years. Had the opportunity to learn and grow his mentorship, and I wouldn't take anything for that time. But now I've got your shadow box. Command staff, if y'all would come up here as well.
Chief, would you like to come up and say a few words, please, sir? Yes, sir.
I told Melissa when she did this program, I wanted to go first. I don't know how I had to follow all of that, but I'm grateful to see the turnout and all of our people here. You know, it touches my heart. If you are a president or a police officer, a police officer, or other law enforcement police man, it don't get any better than this. And there's no better place to do it than to go out there. So, y'all have a seat. I wouldn't be here today without the people sitting up front and all these people that just stood up in this room. They're my family. A lot of times I spend more time with them than I did at home. So, I got something typed out to read because y'all know I ain't real good at this. I want to take this opportunity to thank my family and friends, Mayor Reeves, the Troy City Council, members of the Troy Police Department, our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, and the citizens of Troy. It has been my honor and privilege to serve as your chief of police for the last 9 years and a law enforcement officer for over 35 years. At times, it was the most difficult job. But I tried to always put the citizens and members of the Troy Police Department first, even at the expense of time with my family. You may not have agreed with every decision that I made, but I did what I felt was right and in the best interest of our city and the brave men and women of the Troy Police Department. Police work has evolved tenfold since I began my career in law enforcement. It has become the time to think this an extremely dangerous occupation. I've always been grateful for the support of the community and city leadership rallying around our police department in difficult times. I always attempted to keep our department up to date with the latest technology and equipment, always keeping in mind that this had to be done with fiscal prudence. I didn't need Shannon to make my phone ring and tell me we didn't have enough money. Many citizens don't realize the sacrifices, danger, and family hardships involved in police work. But regardless of this, our officers willingly responded within minutes to any situation to assist you many times at their own peril. To Mayor Reeves and my dear friend, Fire Chief Beaver Stevens, thank you both for your leadership and words of wisdom during some pressing times. To the current and former city council members, Mayor Reeves, our city attorneys, thank you for being supportive of our police department and me. I had the unique opportunity to see firsthand many of the difficult decisions that you had to make daily, keeping in mind the best interest of our city. To all civilian employees of the police department, the city of Troy, and our management team, thank you all for the great job that you do and for making my life a little easier. I truly appreciate the continued cooperation, friendship, and respect bestowed upon me and our department. To my command staff, Deputy Chiefs Wayne Floyd and Danny Baker, Captains Sanford Winger, Matt Raytime, Brian Weed, Lee Barnes, and my financial and administrative assistant, Melissa Ingram. Thank you all for your loyalty, hard work, attention to detail, dedication, and professionalism. To the former and current police officers and staff of the Troy Police Department, I want to thank you for your tireless dedication to the city of Troy. You are truly the best of the best. so blessed that it has been my honor to have worked beside you over the past 33 years. I wish to again thank the community for allowing me the privilege of serving for you for all these years. Troy, Alabama is truly a special place. To all the men and women of the Troy Police Department, I wish you and your families health, happiness, and continued success during your law enforcement careers. Stay safe,